On today's episode, we're going to be discussing breeder red flags. So what to look out for when choosing a breeder, things that you should try to find, things that you should avoid, and just overall about ethical breeding, just in general, and why that's a good thing when you're looking for a new dog. So Magda, do you want to start us off with one of the red flags?
Welcome to The Woofy Show, the ultimate dog lover's digest. Meet your hosts, Brian and Magda, two dog lovers ready to help you be the best dog parent, unravel the mysteries of canine behavior, and keep you updated on the latest trends in the dog world. This podcast has something for everyone. Get ready for heartwarming stories, expert advice, and a lot of laughs.
One of the red flags. So it's extremely hard actually to find a good breeder. So
yes.
Yeah, it's like the more you look into them, the more I feel like there's these crappy breeders that just keep popping up.
Yep.
I don't know, algorithm maybe.
That's true.
But one of the things that you should look for is that if the breeder doesn't actually vet you.
Okay. What do you mean? Not like an animal vet?
No, they won't take you to a vet or anything. No, but there's no application form. They don't care who gets the puppies. So they will not ask you, the right questions. Like, what is your lifestyle? Why do you want this particular breed? What are you planning on doing with this dog?
Okay, yeah.
Do you live in an apartment or house? Like, depending on the type of dog you want to get.
Yeah.
They don't ask these questions because they just don't care.
Yeah. So I guess that's a sign, of a bad breeder. And it says
If they just don't really take the time to look for the right people to get their puppies.
Yeah. No, that's a very valid one. And I feel like if it's something you can just rock up and
just
grab
choose
one,
the dog.
Our previous episode when we were talking about puppy mills, like a breeder is not a pet store. You can't just go up and be like, I want that one and leave. And I guess that comes to the next kind of point. The next red flag is that all they want is a payment from you.
Yeah.
So same thing. You can't just rock up, here's your money, here's your dog, you go kind of thing. If that's all they want, then that's kind of a massive red flag because you don't know what you're getting. It's like buying a used car and you can't even look at it or something like that.
Exactly.
You don't want a lemon of a dog.
So there's no contract, right? There's nothing to say, hey, this dog has been passed on from these hands to these hands. And, these are the vet records. This is all of that stuff, right? There's also the breeder doesn't give you any guidance.
No.
Like the ethical breeders will actually give you a whole sheet of things to how to prepare yourself for your new puppy.
Even before what you should have before
how to prepare your house.
Yeah.
Like they will give you all of that guidance because they want for that puppy to have the best start in life. They want that puppy to go to the right house where they're going to be happy and flourish in their life, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a huge one. If again, back to the point, if all they care is you paying and that's it, and it's just exchange. It's a transaction, but it's not a transaction at the same time. If it's just like payment, dog, there you go. It's like, where's the support? Yeah. Where's the conversation before? Where's the conversation after or during? I know when we got Maple, we had a huge take home kit of paperwork and vet records and food, the food she was eating most recently, as a transition period.
Yeah, they will educate you on everything that you should be doing with this dog, like what type of food to feed it, so that your dog is nutritionally balanced and things like that. But they will also check in with you afterwards once you get that puppy to make sure, hey, how's the puppy doing?
Or answer questions.
Yeah, or just be available and have that relationship with you as a dog parent to make sure that everything's going great, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. So for that one.
So another point is that they won't show you where the. Sorry, you're gonna have to cut that out. Another point is that they won't show you where they keep the puppies. So if the address shows as an industrial site, for instance, that's a massive red flag because a lot of ethical breeders will actually have their dogs in-house.
Yes.
So there will be family dogs that are bred together and they will not be living somewhere offsite in a farm.
Or they're not meeting you. Well, see, and then there's another thing. Now this is where you have to really kind of use common sense and do your research, but like, are they meeting you in like a neutral location of like, I'll meet you in the back of the Walmart parking lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, exactly. I know it sounds weird, but like, if they're not willing to, show you where the puppy's raised or where they live or things like that, because they're too scared of you knowing where they live.
So you can make sure that the conditions that they grew up in or they were bred in are hygienic, right? That there's not like hundreds of dogs living in the same environment, that they're not enclosed in cages from the start of their lives and things like that. So that's very important. And I think if a breeder wants to just ship the dog to you and not really, for instance, have this social proof, right, of like showing where the puppy, like the stages of their lives and
even
things like that.
Even if you can't physically go there, because I know some people get other people to pick them up, but like video call, like come on, or 2024, like video calls are so easy.
A lot of ethical breeders are very transparent about the conditions that the puppies are growing up in, what they do with those puppies, so the things that they introduce them to, and things like that. What kind of training
have they started?
Yeah.
Which they should, to be honest. And that wasn't one of them, but on that same topic, have they started the socialization? Have they started some training?
Yeah, like exposing them to visitors, exposing them to different textures, different environments, and things like that. It's a massive thing to give that puppy the best start in their lives that they can get.
Yeah, so on the topic of showing you where the puppies kind of were raised, another one is showing you or telling you who the parents are. A lot of like ethical breeders, especially on their websites, they'll show the parents of the litters and for the people that matter, who like really care about that, but like the titles they've got as well to see like what they were excelling in as well. So, and then maybe if you do go there in person, seeing the parents, let them come out. And I know we did that. It was a bit like chaotic because the parents saw the puppy that we saw Maple when we were going to get her. And I think they were a bit like stressed of like, why is our little girl in this waiting area for us?
It's understandable, especially for like the mother of the puppy, right? Like she's going to be super protective over the puppy. So that's also something to consider. However, the ethical breeders will be very transparent once again about who the mother and the father are. So then you can follow a family tree, basically, right? Yes. Like, where did compare, these dogs...
And you always compare. I know we do that with Maple. We're like, oh, does she look like her mom? Does she look like her dad? It's really fun to do, actually. So
I think she's a perfect mix of both, to be honest.
And so that's a big one. You need to see, like, where did your puppy come from?
Yeah, like if a breeder says, like, oh no, I don't have the mother and the father available, I'm not going to tell you who they are.
Well, so sometimes though, for the fathers, they don't actually, because some people just use like they'll get males and they'll use them as like studs for the females, and fair enough, like that's fine. But they'll be transparent about that too. They'll still tell you who the father is, but they're not going to be like, oh,
this is the dad. Here he is, right?
They might not have him at the time, but I think even as the parents of that father or mother, they still want to know. I know we know people and. They're like, oh yeah, he had that puppy with
with someone else, right? Or
but
whatever,
still,
right?
it's all a family tree, as you say.
Exactly. So another red flag is when the puppies are less than 8 weeks old and the breeder is prepared to sell them to you.
Yes.
That is a massive red flag because a puppy needs to be with the mother for at least 8 weeks. Yeah. I know there are breeders out there that kind of extend that time.
10 or 12 weeks, which is fine as well. We're not saying 8 weeks is the...
Yeah, but that's like a minimum, I think, that they should be with the mother. And that it just means if they want to sell you a puppy when they're less than 8 weeks old, it just means that they're in it for the money. They want a quick turnaround.
Well, and they just want to get rid of all the hassle. Like that's 2 more weeks of like, oh, that's 2 more weeks I got to deal with these puppies. Like, let's get rid of them sooner. And
but they don't care about the welfare of that dog because it can have a massive effect on that puppy, right? If the dog has not been with the mother for enough time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a pretty self-explanatory one. Like, you don't really have to, go too deep in that. Yeah, if you're getting a puppy that's less than 8 weeks old, I would question why. Like, why is this such a so
transaction and like why you're rushing the process?
So So another kind of red flag is when like the breeder doesn't have a relationship with like the parent dogs.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, how they don't let you see the dogs if they're or whatever. Same thing. Like they're not like their pet, their family member. They're just like what's the word I want to use? Not like a tool. Well, yeah, in a sense, like a tool to make them money, and they just get locked up and they don't get to see them. You know, you wouldn't have a breeder that finds two separate dogs from different owners and be like, hey, can I borrow these so I can breed them? Like, no, that's not how it works. Normally the breeder will have the mother at least. And they'll be their pet. They'll be their family member.
It's interesting when you actually are in the world of ethical breeders, like every ethical breeder knows another. Like it's such a close in community that everyone just knows each other. They know their, processes of things, and they want to have those relationships with breeders like we do as well, right? We go out there, we go to dog shows and things, and we talk to people that have dog collars, and we want to have these conversations and relationships so we can keep in contact, especially if you're passionate about certain breed.
Yeah, exactly. So no, that's a very valid point on that one.
I think that's also kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are, but it's just more to let you know about generally ethical breeding, and these are the things that you should be looking for. Yeah. Or not looking for, depending on how you're listening to this. But yeah.
So, the red flag that you should be looking at is if the breeder doesn't specialize in a certain breed or couple breeds.
Yes.
So if someone jumps on like a trend train, basically, and just breeds the dogs that are in demand or are fashionable or popular at the time, and they don't really have a passion or like knowledge of that breed, or couple other breeds, not hundreds breeds, right? Then that to me is also a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of breeders, for the most part, only breed one type of dog. Yeah. Some of them breed like 2 or 3, but that's all. But they've been doing that for a long time. Or they'll start with one for a very long time, slowly add another one that they're like, I really like this dog. And that's kind of as far as it goes. We know some breeders that breed like 2, maybe 3 different breeds, but that's it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all about like specializing and really having passion for that one breed and improving on that breed, right? Constantly, rather than just treating the animals as like money-making machines.
Yeah, exactly. And then, we'll go into the next point quickly because kind of transition well, but the breeder always has puppies in stock or available.
Yeah.
So if you have so many different dogs, so many different breeds you're breeding, or even like 10 different females that you're breeding constantly, like that, you shouldn't be having that. That's like, it's not healthy for the dogs. It's not healthy for the place that they're like born in. You can't just go one next kind of thing. That's just, it's not a very good idea because you can't give your attention to the puppies when you're just doing it, every 2 months or whatever, every 8 week skate. That's the next litter's popping out in 2 days.
Yeah, like that's called overbreeding, or like sometimes also unethical breeders will inbreed the dogs. Yeah. So like literally mother and a son. Yeah. And making babies, which is also
unfortunately happens. Yeah. Because people get that they get the taste of, okay, I'm making money off of this, it's going well. Oh no, I don't have any more males right now that are ready, or I don't have a female that's ready. No one will know. No one will know. And they will eventually be found out because it will lead to like health complications. Yeah. And when you have a whole litter with the same health complications, you're going to start asking questions. Yeah. And unfortunately that has happened. Yeah. Here, not obviously with Maple, but with people we know.
And people did
thankfully,
find out.
This person has disappeared, which is a good and a bad thing. Wish this person kind of faced consequences, but I mean, maybe they did. I don't actually know for sure. But yeah, you don't, and that's something that you have to look out for. And again, it goes back to who is the mother, who is the father. Yeah. Where did they come from? That's the other thing, because at least like with Maple, we know what breeder her mom came from and what breeder her dad came from. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and it's all, there's all records of this. Can't lie about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, A female dog should only be bred couple times in their lifetime, not constantly.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, sometimes the mother will die because she's just overbred.
Yeah,
There's nothing left in her. Yeah, it's pretty tragic. It's pretty sad, and I don't understand why we should support that. We shouldn't, ever.
And you might not know, and that's the unfortunate part. But then if you do find out, that's make sure you tell everybody, because we got to spread the word. But
so another red flag for an unethical breeder is when the breeder is pushing you to make a sale, to close the deal.
Yeah.
That is a huge red flag, because getting a puppy is such a big commitment.
Yes.
You need to really be sure and sit down with it and think about it. It's not a decision you should make on a fly overnight. You should talk to your family members, make sure that you are all on the same page, that you are prepared for the dog and how this dog is going to change your life, because they will.
Yes.
So
for the better.
For the better or for the worse, if you weren't prepared for the amount of work and training and everything else that comes with a puppy.
And so, like, breeders are not salesmen. They're not. There's just maybe they were in a past life, but they shouldn't be acting like they have a quota to hit and let's get the money. Oh, let's upsell you a second dog. Hey, if you get this one, we'll give you the second one half off. You know what I mean? Like, that's not
this happens.
That's not what it's supposed to be.
That's like another red flag. If a breeder is prepared to sell you 2 puppies at the same time, or tell you a story that these 2 puppies have to be together because they can't live without each other or something.
Anyone that has raised 1 puppy knows that to do 2 at the same time, why would you put yourself through that?
No, it's not ethical at all to sell 2 puppies at the same time, because those puppies will become dependent on each other, and it's not healthy. 1 puppy at a time should be able to develop a bond with you as an owner and have that time one-on-one, rather than have 2 crazy puppies running together and ruining your life. So a lot of ethical breeders will actually wait until your current dog is at least 2 years old.
Yeah. Now that's if you have 1 dog. So I know there are cases where people get them sooner than that. Like they'll have a dog that's say 1 year, but they also have like 3 other dogs that are 5, 7, 12 kind of thing. So it's kind of like, it's just so you don't have just 2 like puppy mentality or adolescent and puppy, because it's more also for the owners. It's too hard on you. And then you're going to regret. You're going to get frustrated.
Yeah, there's more chance that dog will end up in a shelter, right?
Because of your dumb decision to get 2 at the same time, or 2 very close together.
Yeah, so it's never a good idea. I wouldn't recommend.
No. And although you want to, I know we want it to.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, oh my God, you absolutely love your dog, and I want another one. And we had that. But we had that. We were just, and we didn't like think, I completely forgot that was like a thing. We were just really excited. And the breeder we spoke to was like, no, your current dog is not 2 yet, so you are not eligible. And that goes back to they're not vetting you. There's no application. They don't have like requirements.
Yeah, exactly. There should always be requirements. They should always make sure that you are ready for this new addition to your family.
Don't like be 9 months pregnant and picking up a dog in a week. You know what I mean? Like same kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what they should be looking at you as
a person, like where do you work? Like what's your lifestyle, right? Are you going to leave this dog for 8 hours, 10 hours a day?
And you probably shouldn't be getting a toller or high energy dog, or get a Shih Tzu or something.
Yeah. That's the thing. The breeders, the good breeders will care about things like that.
So on the topic of good breeders and caring is that they should be able to provide you with vet records and health checks, especially for the puppy and for the parents.
Yeah.
They should definitely health check the parents before they breed them.
Yeah.
100%, 1,000%. And
just
then
to make sure that there's no like genes that can be passed on to the litter, right? Or any specific health conditions that could be carried on.
And then even the same thing with the vet check. So they should be taking the puppies usually to a vet. Now, not all of them will have the first vaccination done, depending on when you get the dog and the breeder. There is no rule for that. I know it's very good to get your dog vaccinated, but there's things against getting it too early and there's things against getting it too late. So that's not the point of the vaccinations, but at least just a general checkup.
Yeah.
Is their puppy coat coming in okay? Are there,
are there teeth
are there a few
fine?
little
And-
teeth that they have?
Yeah. Are they like structurally
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
You know.
Are their eyes, are they, can they see? Like
Yeah.
things like that? Are their
They
ears okay?
see,
I don't know
hear.
how they check all that. And I assume they do. Or we're
I
just making
think it's
stuff
just
up.
a
But
general like health
checkup.
check,
Yeah.
right?
Which I assume you would do as a baby. I mean, I don't know from experience, neither do you. But I imagine that's what
Yeah.
happens. They don't let you leave the hospital until everything is good.
Yeah.
So, and that's something they should be able to provide and they should be doing as part of like their fees. It's not like, oh, well, you want me to do a vet check? Well, I don't want to pay it. Once you take it, I mean, you should still go to your vet as well once you pick the puppy up, like soon as possible.
Yeah.
But the breeder should be also doing that on their end as well.
Yeah. Which is why the puppies cost a lot more from an ethical breeder, because it costs money to register the puppies, to do these health checks on the parents and the puppies as well. Like it's all an investment, right? That you put in that money into making sure that these puppies are healthy and good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So another kind of point on top of that is what if the breeder is pushing you to use a particular vet.
And that's if you live in like the same area as them for the most part.
Because it has happened in the past, and it does happen, unfortunately, where the breeder is in like cahoots.
Or they have a relationship with the vet.
With the vet, and that's when things can go wrong, because the vet can approve the puppies to be healthy, give out false records in order to hide certain health conditions, and then you're going to get this puppy, take it home, and then realize that this puppy is not healthy at all. You basically bought a lemon.
Exactly. It's like someone telling you that you have to go see this doctor and you don't have a choice for a second opinion. And it's like,
No, an ethical breeder will let you choose your own vet, the vet that's local to you, that you are comfortable with, and with their practices.
But they should be able, if you don't know, they should be able to give you recommendations as well. They should be like, hey, this is who I use. Not saying you have to use them, but this is the vet I use. And it's like, okay, doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah.
But if, like you said, if they're pushing you or saying, oh no, all the other vets are bad, you need to go see this specific person at this specific vet clinic. It's like
this specific time of day, after hours.
Yeah.
it's
like those movies when like humans get
dodgy.
shot and they have to go to like vets to get bullets removed because they're criminals or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because they are.
Yeah.
Like unethical breeding is criminal.
Well, it should be. I don't think it's technically by
I think
law,
you can
but
actually like go to prison if like you're really bad.
Yeah, and I think certain
because of the welfare of the
areas.
animals.
Yeah, that's true.
So
It's
there
like
are
animal
certain
abuse.
laws, I think, that protect animals from abuse.
Don't quote us on this. We're not lawyers, so and we don't know where you live when you're listening to this either. So, we're just brainstorming, throwing things out.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a huge one. And then I guess the last red flag, at least from like our perspective and our opinion. And again, a lot of this is common knowledge, but also our opinion. But I think a lot of people would back us up on what we're saying. But it's the absence of documentation. Mm-hmm. So that is the vet documentation. That is registration. Now this is assuming you have a purebred dog, though.
Yeah, this is kind more for the purebred dogs. Like if you as a breeder, you are selling purebred Frenchies, purebred Cocker Spaniels, etc., you need a documentation to tell you that this dog belongs to this breed. It's not a mixed bred dog. Here's the documentation to prove
this is their official registered name from the AKC, CKC, the Kennel Club, whatever it's called,
because
wherever you are.
Otherwise, you can buy a dog that is a purebred whatever and is actually not purebred, or maybe the breeder didn't have a contract to say that these dogs can be bred, right?
Yeah, and so that's what happens a lot. Well, not a lot. I guess it can happen. So, like when some breeders, when you get a purebred dog, you have to sign a contract saying you do not have the rights to breed this dog.
Yeah.
Mostly, again, females. And so if you do breed the dog, then you are not eligible to get them registered.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, I have a purebred dog, blah, 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 and people are like, oh, well, what,
So
are they
you
registered?
cannot prove that these puppies are purebred
Yeah.
puppies, that they are actually belonging to the kennel club
Yeah.
because they have been bred outside of contract,
Yeah.
which you broke, either intentionally or not.
And I
it
mean,
doesn't matter.
Accidents happen, and some people do sell dogs that are bred out of contract because it was more of an accident.
Yeah.
And they might be good people, though. So we're not saying like that's a terrible, terrible don't. Like some people, unfortunately,
But
accidents
that is
happen,
a
but they're
red
trying to. But
flag,
it's still,
and
yeah.
it should be disclosed
Yes,
in
they
a
shouldn't be
transparent
trying
way.
to sell it as a
Yeah.
registered dog because
Yeah.
then the documentation will be fake and they're not
Yeah.
actually registered.
Yeah.
So, and that's the point of the documentation. And then for non-purebred dogs, so that maybe they're mixed breeds, it's those things of the vet records, the health checks. If they've already put microchips in them, like the
Yeah.
information for that, just anything. Like if
Yeah.
you're literally taking a dog with nothing, just the dog with hopefully a collar at least, then you're like, what's going on?
Sometimes
Like
there's not
imagine
even color on
buying
it.
anything without like a receipt and like instruction,
Yeah.
like an instruction
Like
manual.
you will get a bill of sale,
Yeah.
right, from an ethical breeder that
Yeah.
literally is like a receipt. It will tell you you have bought this dog
Yeah,
with
'cause
this
it's-
microchip.
yeah.
It belongs now to you. It's like yet another contract
Yeah.
to tell you that this dog now belongs to you. It doesn't belong to us, and this is where it came from.
So yeah. So those are some of the red flags. As you can tell, we're pretty passionate about this topic.
I love it.
We talk to a lot of people, and again, I know a lot of some of these have to specifically do with purebreds, and we have nothing against mixed breed dogs at all. I know some
Yeah.
people need a certain mix of the two. We've actually learned that more and more doing sports that there's a lot of border collie crosses because everyone loves border collies, but they lack some things that other breeds do, and so
So they cross them in order to like improve the performance of the
and
breed.
that's perfectly fine, and they should still be able to meet all of this criteria. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean just because they're mixing two breeds together, they should still have health checks. You should still be able to see parents, learn about them, everything we've
You
just
should
discussed.
still be vetted out,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And things like that. They should be, the breeder should try to seek, what are you trying to use this dog for?
You don't want like a sport mixed breed for
Yeah.
like a stay-at-home lounging couch potato pet.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's
Yeah.
the thing. You're not buying a dog purely for the aesthetics
Yeah.
and the looks. You're buying that dog for a certain purpose.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of applications will ask you, what type of sports, because the breeder will be able to tell you the strengths of that puppy at very early age.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean
for the most part.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be a little bit. Again, some of it is guessing, but some of it is
Yeah.
because we had that with Maple. Where,
yeah, Maple was meant to be a family dog, but she's
and
really
she
good at
also
sports.
wasn't that keen on water, but she like loves water unless it's having a bath, and she hates water. But
Yeah.
then most dogs don't really like baths. Maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. Off topic. But yeah, so that's just something for everyone to be aware of. We have a lot of content about when you already have the dog. And so we want to do some stuff for those of you that are listening that are thinking about getting a dog. So
Yeah.
the first episode is avoid puppy mills. Cool. You understand what a puppy mill is. Now, okay, well, I want to find one from a breeder. How do I find a breeder?
Yeah.
What should I look for? And that's why we wanted to do this episode.
Yeah. So this episode is like, just building awareness of what you should be looking for when looking for a breeder.
And reach out to multiple. And just
Yeah.
because one might not be available, it doesn't mean they don't like you, but they might just not, they could be busy. They might
That's
not be
the
available.
thing with ethical breeding. Like sometimes it takes years to get a puppy from
Yeah.
a certain breeder. And that's because they don't overbreed.
Yeah.
They don't have unlimited amount of stock. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well,
like
exactly.
you have to wait for the
Or
right
there's
dog.
people that are, you are, perfect for that breed. You pass all of their checks and all of that, but there are 15 other people that have applied before you over the last 3 years that
Yeah.
are also perfect. So you're now in line waiting
Yeah.
your turn.
Yeah, there
that's
are
it.
waiting lists. It's
Yeah.
a very real thing.
Oh yeah, we know. I think we're
Especially
still
for
on waiting lists.
Yeah, especially for dogs that are like in high demand.
Yeah.
But the backyard breeders have not yet put their hands on it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So that's it for this episode. We hope you learned something. If there was anything we missed that we should look out for, something that is good to know about ethical breeders or trying to find a breeder, please let us know. We might have missed a few points. But that's it. We appreciate if you subscribe to this video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, follow, and rate us on Spotify, Apple. That actually helps us a lot more. We want to see reviews. What do you think of our show? Please don't leave a 1-star review if you don't like it. Send us an email first.
So we can talk about it.
So we can talk about it. But yeah, we would love that. Really, really helps. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for dog training and behavior tips. We have hundreds of thousands of members and professionals that can answer your training questions, just your behavioral questions. So
yeah,
as we mentioned, we don't know it all, but
even
we
if you are thinking of getting a puppy and you are dealing with a certain breeder and you're not quite sure, you can always pop into our Facebook group and ask a question, right? Hey, I'm dealing with this breeder. What do you guys think? Like, is this the right breeder for what I want? Yeah. And then we'll be able to answer you and all the other people.
You in like a specific direction, maybe.
It's like, hey, let's look into them, right? And see if they're legit.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else?
That's it for today. No? Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye for now.